Thank you for joining us. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. We do want to apologize for coming on a little late here. We were having some behind-the-scenes difficulty with our stream, but now that we're here, we do want to get right back to the breaking news we've been covering all morning. The Clark County Sheriff's Office says one of its deputies shot and killed an armed man who's accused of threatening to kill at least one of his parents.
It happened just before 11 o'clock last night in downtown Vancouver. Let's get right over to Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz. It was live in Vancouver. So Thomas, what else do we know about this shooting?
Well, guys, we just spoke to the Washington State Office of Independent Investigations. Those are the people who actually investigate these officer-involved shootings. They just arrived on scene and are just beginning their investigation. Still a lot we don't know and won't know today, like who this man was, how old he was. What we do know is that this all started around 10:40 last night. That's when Clark County deputies received an emergency call from a person, saying that their son, they believe, was trying to kill them. They said that their son was high on meth and had also been drinking. That's when Vancouver police and Clark County deputies responded to that home on East 27th Street and H Street in Vancouver. During that response, the caller reported their son had left the home on a bicycle. Minutes later, a Vancouver police officer saw the suspect on the bike. A deputy then reported over the radio that he still had a gun. That's when things turned lethal. Around 10:51, deputies located the suspect near Main Street and East 19th Street in downtown Vancouver. That's around where we are right now. Clark County Sheriff's Office says a deputy fired their gun. The man then died. Authorities say they gave him first aid, but it didn't work. We spoke to a woman who lives downtown. She's disheartened to hear what happened.
Doesn't surprise me with the changes and the current events and just the overall, level of humanity that we're seeing in today's, world. That the kids, they're all right, but they're desperate. They're feeling a lot of hopelessness, and everything going on is just making things a lot harder.
A lot of mixed reactions here in Vancouver. A lot of people still grappling with what happened. We just spoke with another man who lives over here. He says he heard 4 gunshots last night, again, right before 11 o'clock at night as people are starting to wind down and go to bed. Fortunately, the Clark County Sheriff's Office says nobody else was hurt in this. No deputies were injured. That deputy who was involved in the shooting has been placed on critical incident leave. That is standard protocol in incidents like this. That happens every time there is an officer-involved shooting. Now, once again, the Washington State Office of Independent Investigations is beginning that investigation. They try to have more information to the public, including body camera footage available in 3 to 4 months. That body cam generally comes out a little bit earlier as the investigation continues to go on. We'll have more updates from our conversation with that investigator coming up later in the show. Drew, China.
Our Thomas Schultz reporting live from downtown Vancouver.
All right, before we get to some other headlines here, let's check in with Rod Hill. He's in the Weather Center talking about that Thursday forecast.
Yeah, good morning. Here on the west side, the valley and over at the coast, it's a nice morning. We have clouds. There go the birds. We have clouds at the coast. Do you see me as they flew by? Kind of ducked. We have partly cloudy skies here in the valley. Our state capital this morning, 63 degrees. And then here's downtown Portland. Currently more sunny than Salem, but these are clouds that are actually blowing over the Cascades from storms that continue in central and eastern Oregon in the forecast today. Portland, 61 out the door, very nice. Will be 74 at noon and 82 at 5 o'clock. We had the chance of rain in today's forecast for quite some time, and I would say there's a slight chance of a shower, but all of our model data now keeps the rain from the storms that we're tracking along and east of the Cascades, and we'll show you a radar coming up in just a minute. That's your update for now.
Thank you, Rod. Your time now is 7:11, and for the second time this week, Portland police have arrested a man accused of setting multiple fires around the city. Aubrey Edwards facing 15 charges tied to fires set over the course of 2 weekends. He is also believed to have set more fires yesterday, just hours after he was released from jail. Investigators say he set cars, garbage cans, and mattresses on fire, damaging several blocks between North Portland and downtown. So police are asking anyone with security or doorbell video of the fires to come forward.
I first thought it was a car accident, and then I seen an officer covering his face as he got stabbed in the eyeball.
Wild story from Springfield, Oregon. One man is dead, 2 officers hurt after a police shooting there. This happened just before 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon near a car wash in Springfield. Police say the man was threatening officers with knives. He ended up stabbing 2 of them before police shot and killed him. Both officers were taken to the hospital. There's no update this morning on their condition. Meanwhile, a Salem man faces federal charges after authorities say they found more than 40 pounds of fentanyl and heroin inside his home. The charges against 45-year-old Gildardo Rivera Garcia include possession with the intent to distribute. Prosecutors say he's a Mexican national who was living illegally in Oregon. The search of his home this past weekend was part of a larger investigation into a fatal fentanyl overdose. Garcia made his first court appearance on Tuesday and is being held without bail.
2 men were arrested in Salem for their alleged involvement in breaching an ATM at an Umpqua bank. On Tuesday, security at the bank on Northeast Center Street reported 2 men tampering with an ATM. So Salem police say surveillance video shows the suspects using a key to get inside the machine and taking pictures of the inside of the machine before leaving. They were arrested about 30 minutes later when they returned to the bank. Inside the car, officers say they found a functional ATM key, electronics, tools, and a license plate. This is considered to be a jackpotting scheme. According to Salem police, it's the unlawful installation of malware to bypass the authorized transaction process. From there, the ATM will dispense money on command. They say this does not directly affect consumers' accounts.
All right, let's take a look outside now. Downtown Portland on this Thursday morning. We've got Rod Hill on standby. It was kind of a cloudy start yesterday, and those clouds took a while to go away. That's why we kept things, I know, in the mid-80s. What's the plan for today, Rod?
Yeah, similar. Yesterday, I had forecasted that we would be near 90. And what happened?
Remember.
Yeah. Thank you for remembering. It was only 84, so we missed it. But the cloudiness yesterday coming off of storms in central and eastern Oregon, and we think we occasionally see those clouds drift over the Cascades into the valley again. And speaking of, here's the radar. Still a few strikes in just the last couple of minutes around La Grande. Most of this has now moved up into Washington. You see some active strikes between Kennewick and Yakima. No storms currently, but some showers around Madras. And then here is some heavier showers. That's actually on the west slopes of the Cascades, getting down into maybe even parts of eastern Marion County. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, here's a closer look at the radar and the fact that all of this is weakening as it moves up to the north. We've seen at least some light raindrops around Wasco County. Here's the view currently from our Oregon Veterans Home camera in the Dalles. Partly sunny skies, 71 degrees. Cloudiness into Hood River as well. Here's Cathedral Ridge Winery. That's wet on the back patio because of a sprinkler, not because of rain. You can see Mount Adams sticking up where they had a lot of lightning and thunder around the mountain yesterday. And then here are the valley forecast numbers. So while there's still a shower threat in the valley, remember I just showed you some rain that's on the west slope of the Cascades. Generally, all of our modeling now shows from Salem, Portland, and Vancouver, we stay dry today, partly sunny. This shows mid-80s getting up into the Salem area, and then 80 degrees in Battleground. Again, kind of a mixed bag of partly sunny skies. We do know that temperatures will be comfortable going into the first weekend of August. Right now, Saturday is 84 and Sunday is maybe only 78. We'll be back in just a moment.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
I'm Christine Pitawanich, and if you're already looking forward to the weekend, you are not alone. We are expecting nice weather this Saturday and Sunday, and we've got some fun events in the area to help you take advantage of it. We'll start in Clark County with the County Fair. The 10-day-long event kicks off this Friday and features games, rides, and educational opportunities. There's also a concert lineup this weekend, starting with the Brothers Osborne on Friday. Gates open at 10 a.m. and tickets cost anywhere from $10 to more than $80 depending on which package you get. And for something a bit more moderately paced, why not head to North Portland for the St. John's Art Walk? This Saturday from 11 to 4, everyone is invited to stop by local businesses and check out some local artwork on display. It takes place in the St. John's Business District along Northwest Lombard between New York and Richmond Avenues. More details at stjohnsartwalk.org. And finally, for our fashion forward folks, this Sunday marks the beginning of Sneaker Week. Orlando Sanchez might be there. He loves his sneakers. The week-long event begins with a screening at the OMSI Auditorium of Piece by Piece. That's Pharrell Williams' animated Lego biopic. It'll be followed by a Q&A with Adidas footwear designer Sarah Sabino. For more details on the full week's lineup, head to sneakerweekpdx.com. And for more weekend inspiration, you can always check out the 8 Things to Do article up each week at kgw.com.
Your time now is 7:19. A lot of stuff to do this weekend and good weather to do it in.
Yeah, and the first weekend of
August.
I like working
My
with
birthday
sharp
month.
people.
Yes.
Oh, when's your birthday? August. You got
11th.
August 11th.
Yeah.
Should we get?
I'll
Drew, we
be
supposed to get her a gift.
22.
I already got her a gift, Rod. What are you waiting for, buddy?
Well, I'll go in on it with you. Here's a look at our
I haven't actually gotten you one yet.
All right, this is in response to all the thunderstorms that continue to pop, right? You know how it works. Lightning can start new fire starts, so you have the red flag warning up. But so far, a lot of the lightning has been accompanied with pretty good rain, which dampens the fire chance. So the news has been pretty good. If you look at all the lightning we've had going back to Monday, not really a whole lot of new activity, but we'll be watching this. This will be monitored closely once again. For the time being, the storms that have been causing lightning this morning are weakening and breaking up, as they push up to the north. But there will be another round in central and eastern Oregon refire this afternoon. Now, I want to show you this area. So we've got some rain that's moving through parts of the gorge, light rain, also up around Mount Hood. And then here's the crest. So here's a little bit of rain that's actually bounced over on the west slope of the Cascades. There's Eugene's. This is south, and that's, though, drifting away. Remember, the last few days, models showed that around 11 o'clock this morning, we could actually see some rain make it into Portland. None of the weather data that we look at shows that any longer. So while there is at least still a chance of rain in the valley somewhere, the odds are favoring that Salem, Portland, Vancouver, Albany, Kelso, Longview, that we stay dry today with kind of partly sunny skies. There you can see the weakening lightning strikes right now, mostly up in Washington between Yakima and Kennewick, because those storms continue to move up to the north. We have a mostly cloudy start at the beach, but it's being reported as dry. It's 58 degrees from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City, and we are looking for partial clearing along the beaches this afternoon. The sun's getting high. There's our Chehalem tasting room view with the partly sunny skies. Again, this is mostly debris clouds from the storms that have been coming up across central and eastern Oregon. So we had that yesterday to the point that instead of being upper 80s or near 90, it was only 84. And we'll look for similar to even cooler temperatures today. 58 now out in Chehalem, 58 up in Astoria as well. Kelso 61, Portland 61, and with some light rain in parts of the gorge, the Dow's reporting 71 right now. Coast forecast looking for partial clearing in 60s again. Not much wind anywhere. Light winds at the coast. Gorge winds picking up a little bit. We're talking about west breezes at times 10 to 20, and overall it's pretty quiet. There is the shower chance. We're already seeing that this morning with those storms that have pushed up to the north. Generally dry, 82 today in Portland, 83 tomorrow, first day of August, 84 Saturday. And right now it looks like we stay comfortable for this time of the year all the way into Wednesday of next week. And that is your update.
Yeah, the last full month of summer arrives tomorrow.
Oh, don't say that.
Sorry, it's just fact. All right, Rod. Also happening tomorrow, President Trump's trade deal deadline arrives tomorrow. Again, the first day of August. With that in mind, NBC's Alice Barr has more for us on how tariffs imposed by the president are already impacting the economy.
With just hours to go until President Trump's Friday deadline, when hefty tariffs kick in for global trading partners that haven't reached a deal, the president announcing an agreement with South Korea for billions of dollars in new U.S. investment and 15% tariffs on goods entering the U.S., lower than he'd threatened, but sharply higher than in recent years.
It's literally trillions of dollars ultimately being brought into our country. We're now negotiating with various other countries, and the rest we're just sending out the bill.
Among the countries getting a heftier tab, India, slapped with a 25% tariff plus an additional import tax penalty for buying Russian oil amid the war on Ukraine. And then there's Brazil, hit with a 50% tariff that has many American coffee shops reeling and weighing price increases.
It would only be by cents because we don't want it to be where it's too much for the client.
That risk for tariffs pushing prices up, making the Federal Reserve keep interest rates steady rather than the rate cut President Trump has been publicly pressuring for to boost the economy.
We have no inflation, and we're very strong, and we should be lowering the rates.
Inflation ticked up slightly in June, but has trended downward overall this year, alongside low unemployment, strong market growth, and now word that after shrinking at the start of the year, the U.S. gross domestic product grew, a better than expected 3% this spring, with outlook for the months ahead still uncertain. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Here's a look at some other national headlines this morning with your Morning Rush. Police arrested a suspect in connection with a double homicide last weekend at a state park in Arkansas. 2 parents were killed there while hiking with their 2 young daughters. This is a look at the suspect who was arrested. The children were not hurt. President Trump, meanwhile, signed off on a new law that's designed to help veterans struggling to make their mortgage payments. The bipartisan Veterans Affairs Home Loan Program Reform Act fills a gap that was created after a Biden-era assistance program expired in May. Now listen to this. The makers of M&Ms, Skittles, and Snickers boosting U.S. production, announcing a $2 billion investment this week to expand domestic manufacturing. Mars Candy says 94% of its products sold in the U.S. are already made here. Mars also makes dog food and snack bars and is in the process of acquiring the maker of Cheez-Its, Pringles, and Pop-Tarts. Eat healthy is their motto. And that's your Morning Rush. Hey, just a quick heads up. Tonight's NFL preseason kickoff is altering some of our news schedule later today. So NBC is carrying the Lions versus the Chargers. That impacts our newscast on KGW TV. We will air a local newscast at 3 p.m. and another one after the game at around 8. And NBC Nightly News will air early today at 3:30. But our 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and 6 p.m. newscast will only be seen right here on KGW+.
Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia's loss is our loss as well.
Coming up in our next half hour of Sunrise, the latest in the search for Travis Decker, the man accused of killing his 3 daughters 2 months ago in Central Washington. And we're also going to head back out live to downtown Vancouver. Thomas Schultz will join us with the latest on the shooting of a man late last night, a Clark County Sheriff's deputy accused of shooting and killing a man who was allegedly threatening to kill one of his parents. The details on this story, again, coming up at 7:30.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
On a Thursday morning, I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. Again, we're looking at rain. We've had lightning this morning in parts of eastern Oregon, and then weakening showers push up through the gorge and also on radar up around Mount Hood. So if you're headed up into the Cascades, out through the gorge, realize this is what's going on. The latest modeling really keeps us dry. We've been tracking a shower chance for Portland on today, Thursday, but it doesn't favor any of the information that happening. With that said, these storms that are weakening this morning will be redeveloping and repopping this afternoon, again in central and eastern Oregon. So monitoring those areas for potential new fire starts with the lightning activity. But in Portland, we're nice. We're at 61. It's a partly cloudy morning here in the valley. I have a 74 noon and getting up to about 82 degrees at 5 p.m. Yesterday, with the cloudiness that came in from storms off to the east, we only hit 84, so similar. I've got 83 tomorrow, 84 on Saturday. The first week of August looks to be pretty comfortable by our standards. In fact, maybe only 78 degrees on Sunday.
We start this half hour of Sunrise with the breaking news we've been covering all morning. The Clark County Sheriff's Office says one of its deputies shot and killed an armed man who is accused of threatening to kill at least one of his parents. Thank you for joining us. I'm Drew Carney.
And I'm Trina Green. It happened just before 11 o'clock last night in downtown Vancouver. Let's get right to Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz, who is live in Vancouver. So Thomas, what else do we know about this shooting?
Well, guys, we just spoke to a man who lives down here who says he heard 4 gunshots last night and obviously grew concerned after that. The Clark County Sheriff's Office tells us that this all started around 10:40 last night when they got a dispatch call from somebody saying that they were worried their son was going to kill them. That person went on to say, according to the Sheriff's Office, that their son was armed, high on meth, and had been drinking. I want to show you a map now of where this all started, and this is where deputies first responded. It was near East 27th Street and 8th Street here in Vancouver, less than a mile from where we are. During that response, the caller reported their son left the home on a bicycle. Minutes later, a Vancouver police officer saw the suspect on the bike. A deputy then reported over the radio that the man still had a gun. That's when things turned lethal. Around 10:51 last night, just over 10 minutes before that initial response, deputies located the suspect near Main Street and East 19th Street in downtown Vancouver. A deputy fired their gun. That man died. Authorities say they gave him first aid, but it didn't work. Again, we spoke to a man who heard these gunshots last night. He's still trying to wrap his head around what happened.
I think it's important that instead of jumping to conclusions like many of us might do right away, whether it be that obviously the police shouldn't be killing people or maybe that guy was at fault, that we take this opportunity to offer empathy and love to the people who are involved. Hopefully we will get the body cam footage released, which is our public right to be able to do so, and you can request to do so. But hopefully we can all take a moment to send love and prayers to that family who obviously was going through it with their mentally ill son, but then also had to hear him get shot in their neighborhood. But also send empathy and love to the police officer who also had the worst night of their life.
A lot of points there that he made and a lot that a lot of people are agreeing with here. There's still a lot we don't know here in Vancouver. We don't know this man's age. We don't know his name. We don't know the events that led up to the shooting besides the fact that authorities say he had a gun. That's when one deputy fired, the Clark County Sheriff's Office tells us. Now, once again, no deputies, no police officers were injured, were hurt besides this man. That was the only person who was killed or injured at all in this shooting. The Clark County deputy who fired their weapon has now been placed on critical incident leave. That's standard protocol in incidents like this. You heard that man mention wanting to see body camera footage. That is something that does come and will be released in the coming weeks as this investigation with the Washington State Office of Independent Investigations continues. We spoke to that investigator just a few minutes ago. We'll have more on what he had to say about the investigation and the timeline of the investigation coming up later in the show. Drew, China.
Michelle, it's reporting live from downtown Vancouver.
All right, from there, we're going to head over to Rod Hill. Rod, you got the state capitol building behind you there.
Which state, Drew?
The state of Oregon.
Yes.
I was like, am I not seeing things correct? No. Because we were just in Washington. Is that your point?
No, I'm just seeing if you're on top of your game this morning, my friend. That's it.
You did make me nervous.
Our beautiful state capital in Salem. Partly cloudy skies out there. 63 degrees is the temperature. It looks like at this point that the rain chances we've been tracking for today won't happen. I can't say the rain chance is zero, but everything points to us staying dry. Partly cloudy skies over the Rose City this morning. We're at 61. So with some cloudiness at times expected, like we ended up having yesterday, we'll be fairly comfortable. 74 degrees at noon. High Portland getting up to 82 this afternoon. We'll have your weekend forecast, of course, coming up.
All right, before we get back to some news headlines, we do have a traffic alert here this morning. I'll do my best Chris McGinnis impersonation to let you know that I-205, the southbound lanes are backed up near West Lynn. Cars appear to be backed up all the way past Gladstone. So definitely a situation that's worth mentioning here. We do have a live cam that we can show, I think, here from ODOT. Do we have that available? There you go. So this is another look at this same situation we're talking about. A disabled vehicle seems to be blocking that left lane of traffic. Cars are getting around it, but not quickly. Traffic slowdown there. Again, this is I-205, the southbound lanes slowed down near West Lynn. Meanwhile, in Southwest Washington, the way that a city councilor chose to protest the Trump administration's policies on transgender rights has put them at the center of controversy after a topless protest. We also want to warn you there are some blurred images of nudity in this story. So earlier this month, Stevenson City Councilor Lucy Losser, who's transgender, stood on the Skamania County Courthouse lawn without a shirt on and was arrested for indecent exposure. Losser is also running for mayor of Stevenson, and the primary is less than a week away.
And protesting topless was like the best way that you felt.
I couldn't think of a better method of protesting the president calling me a man than taking off my shirt and getting arrested for it.
This is not about a transgender. This is about a city council official, an elected official, a city council member that is going topless and committing a crime.
So that second person we just heard from there is a local business owner who started a petition to recall Losser's campaign for mayor. If the petition moves forward, it would need 178 signatures within 180 days to trigger the recall. You can watch the full 6-minute version of this story on our TV streaming app right here, KGW+.
Former congressional candidate Joe Kent has been picked to serve as the head of the National Counterterrorism Center. Kent plans to focus the agency's resources on Latin American gangs and criminal groups tied to migration. The former Green Beret and CIA operative ran for Congress in Southwest Washington in the last 2 elections. A glass bottle manufacturer is shutting down its production facility in Northeast Portland. Owens Brockway says about 90 workers will lose their jobs with notices starting August 5th. The company says laid-off employees will get 60 days of pay and benefits. While production ends, the building will still be used as a warehouse. Owens Brockway has been fined for air quality violations in the past.
The Federal Reserve announced on Wednesday that they will not lower interest rates. So, of course, that means it will remain more expensive to borrow money. But experts say there is one positive when it comes to high interest rates.
So in today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan explains how higher interest rates can help you grow your savings faster right now.
Wednesday, the Federal Reserve announced they're keeping interest rates between 4.25 and 4.5%.
Recent indicators suggest that growth of economic activity has moderated.
This means it will continue to cost consumers more to borrow money for things like a mortgage, car payments, even credit card debt. But there is some good news. When interest rates are high, many banks will offer higher annual percentage yields on savings accounts, which means you can grow your money faster.
It's not a bad time to be putting your money towards investments to let it grow.
Bankrate financial analyst Stephen Cates says now is a good time to look into high-yield savings accounts and certificate of deposit accounts known as CDs. Basic savings accounts have an average annual percentage yield of 0.56%, but a high-yield savings account can pay upwards of 4% annually. The higher the rate, the more interest you'll earn on your savings. This Bankrate graph shows how much a top-yield savings account outpaces the average savings rate. So let's crunch the numbers into this Bankrate calculator. If you move $5,000 into a high-yield savings account and contribute $200 a month over a 5-year period with an annual percentage yield of 4.25%, in 5 years, you'll have made nearly $2,500 in interest.
You're getting a really healthy yield compared to where we were over the last, 15 years.
Beware that the bank can change the percent of interest you earn. In a CD, the rate is typically fixed for a specific period of time. In both types of accounts, there may be restrictions on how much and when you can withdraw those funds. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Time for weather with Rodney Hill. What you got behind you there, Rod?
Well, I've got the radar, and we've been talking this morning, good morning to you, that today's Thursday, obviously, but today's the day that we've had this ongoing rain chance of possibility in the Willamette Valley forecast, including Portland. And a lot of that was based on, see this wave of rain, which is weakening as it hits Mount Hood, of this holding together and then moving into Portland. But it really doesn't look like that's going to happen now. I mean, the rain chance is not zero, but the data that had been pointing to a decent rain chance now really doesn't show any rain chance for Salem, Portland, or Vancouver. But if you are going up into the Cascades, realize we're getting some rain up there right now. We've also had some rain out in the Columbia River Gorge this morning. Out east, we had a wave of storms that held together last night and early this morning. See the lightning strikes, but now the current radar shows lightning fizzling between Yakima and Kennewick. Now, there will be more storm development this afternoon come up out of central and eastern areas, and we have red flag warnings up for that part of our state again today for potential new fire starts. Here's a Salem tasting room camera, and this is pretty, right? All of these clouds are coming from blow-off of storm clouds that have been, or rain clouds that have been over in central and eastern Oregon. We saw this yesterday. It's the reason yesterday did not get as hot as I thought it would get. It only hit 84 out at PDX. Today will be similar. 59 right now out in Sherwood. Good morning to you. Here are the other temps. 61 in Scappoose. We're starting to warm up now, right? 7:40 in the morning, 61 in Gresham, and there's Salem at 63. Belly, by the way, is our KGW dog of the day. Pretty looking face there. Dog of the day at kgw.com is the email address. Your dog will become our dog of the day. And again, this afternoon, the storms in central and eastern Oregon expected to fire once again. Looks like we're going to stay dry here on the west side, and our 7-day forecast number is pretty comfortable. Today's the last day of July, 82. Tomorrow, August 1, 83. And then 84 Saturday and 78 degrees on Sunday. Boy, that's pretty nice. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Rod. Yesterday, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office hit the water looking for Travis Decker. He's the man accused of killing his 3 daughters nearly 2 months ago in central Washington. The team was conducting a swift water rescue training in Icicle Creek and specifically chose that spot so they could use their training as a search for Decker. Bridget Chavez with our sister station in Seattle has more.
With gear strapped on and cold water rushing by,
it's a warm day, but it's still going to be chilly.
The Chelan County Sheriff's Office Swift Water Rescue Team wasted no time wading into Icicle Creek.
Searching the riverbank, the deep pools.
This team trains a few times a year, but today's training has a larger purpose.
Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia's loss is our loss as well.
They're using this as an opportunity to continue the search for Travis Decker. He's accused of killing his 3 young daughters in May. He hasn't been seen since. Training is typically all about preparation, but for search crews today, it's about the possibility of finding a clue or even Travis Decker.
We'll just be walking probably 4 or 5 wide, just walking down the middle of it as much as we can, searching the banks. Once it'll get deeper, we'll try to search all the deeper pools, because there's a few of them, and then we'll be searching the log jams.
Sheriff Mike Morrison says the intensive search in June took a toll on his department's budget. While the U.S. Marshal Service has taken over, his team isn't letting up.
And we want to, of course, continue that effort, but make sure that we're
allocating our funds appropriately so we can make it through the year and don't have to walk across the street and ask for additional funds from our Board of County Commissioners unless absolutely necessary.
Morrison says he knows people are frustrated. Decker hasn't been caught.
And we've heard the critics, but again, we're not the kind of team that gives up. We're going to continue to push on, and he's still very much in our targets, and we're going to continue to do what we need to do to track him down.
He says they're in this for the long haul. He points to a case from Eastern Washington that took years to resolve. Just last week, the Okanagan County Sheriff's Office confirmed skeletal remains found in Spokane belonged to Dylan Harrington. He's accused of a double murder in 2022.
We'd like to bring that kind of closure to our community, to the family, and to our agency so we can move on, but we're committed to staying with it.
Today's search didn't turn up anything new, but the mission is far from over.
We're going to continue looking until we find him.
I can't fathom the idea of standing over my father's grave, and I mean that really sincerely, to say, hey, they left.
Keep the Blazers in Portland. That's a plea from local business leaders and former players who are banding together to make sure there's no possibility of the team moving elsewhere. Why they say it all comes down to the Moda Center when Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Local business leaders and some former Trailblazers are working to make sure the Moda Center will continue to house the Blazers.
So to put it simply here, this group is worried about the possibility of a new owner coming in and moving the team out of Portland if major renovations aren't done to the Moda Center or if a new arena isn't built. KGW's John Adams has the story.
We should all have learned from Seattle, who became the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Few people have a bigger connection to the Portland Trailblazers than Marshall Glickman. His father founded the team in 1970, and he was instrumental in the building of the Moda Center and the development of the Rose Quarter in the mid-90s. With the team now up for sale, Glickman says the city needs to take a serious look at changes to its home of 3 decades.
The state of Moda Center is generations behind the state of new modern arenas today.
Glickman, along with other area business leaders and former players, are banding together to form Rip City Forever, a group aimed at keeping the franchise in Portland.
This is Oregon's team, Portland's team. The team stays here and is in a situation where it can compete at the highest level and bring back a championship to Portland.
At a press conference earlier this month, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver weighed in on the sale of the franchise, saying the league prefers the team to stay in Portland if certain steps are made.
The city of Portland likely needs a new arena.
On Tuesday, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek and Portland Mayor Keith Wilson sent a letter to Silver affirming a commitment to renovating Moda, saying they are prepared to explore a public-private partnership to make it happen. However, Glickman thinks there needs to be a really serious look at whether or not it makes financial sense to renovate Moda or build a brand new arena.
If we want to be a world-class city, we should have a world-class venue.
Glickman believes a new arena with an entertainment district built around it could be a huge economic driver for the area, but says part of this push is also personal.
I can't fathom the idea of standing over my father's grave. And I mean that really sincerely, to say, hey, they left.
John Adams, KGW News.
All right, from hoops, we're talking football because tonight the NFL preseason kicks off, and it's actually altering some of our news schedule later today. So NBC will carry the Lions and Chargers. That impacts our newscast on KGW TV. We're going to air a local newscast at 3 o'clock, and then we'll have another one after the game around 8, and then NBC Nightly News will air early on TV at 3:30. But right here, KGW Plus is the only place where you can catch our 4, 5, and 6 p.m. newscasts. Again, we're still going to do those casts, but only here on KGW Plus.
I love football. It's almost time for football.
Who's
I
your
remember
team?
that song.
Who do you root for? You got to tell us who you root for then.
UNLV.
She's only watches college.
I only like college. So UNLV and UT and the Ducks is who University of Tennessee.
University of Tennessee, yeah, and the Ducks. All
Yes.
right. Well, 2 out of 3 of those teams are pretty good.
Say it. Hold me back. Hold me back. Hold me back. You're lucky he's holding me back. You're so lucky.
I'm just kidding you because my team's often horrible.
Missouri, right?
Missouri, yeah. I mean, we haven't stunk the last couple of years.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, go Tigers. Here's a look at our red flag warning map. All right, so this is up for all of the thunderstorms. So this part of the forecast has absolutely been spot on. Back on Monday, we said every single day into Friday, we're going to see pretty impressive outbreaks of storms in central and eastern Oregon. We have had that. The good news is the lightning has generally come with pretty good downpours of rain, so we haven't really had any fire starts that were overly large, with a couple of exceptions. There's a fire out in Baker County near the Idaho border, and there's one down in Harney County, again near the Idaho border. But from what I can tell, burning purely in grassland with nobody, no homes threatened. So, but anyway, it's another day that we'll be watching thunderstorms develop. Now, we had some storms hold together last night into early this morning. What you're looking at here is generally the remnants of those storms weakening and moving up to the north. Now, this is interesting. Let's take I don't have a closer look at that one, but outside of Bend, there's some rain now on the west slope of the Cascades, but those storms are turning southward. Here's a look at Futurecast this afternoon. So things are starting to quiet down, and then this afternoon, things will fire back up. So here's 3:05 again. You're looking at the bright colors. That would be probably some lightning, but also some heavy downpour activity. And the storms, again, continue to push up to the north and then generally weaken. Although last night the storms held together pretty good. So we'll see. And here comes Friday afternoon again. Here's a storm racing up the South Oregon Cascades toward maybe the Bachelor area in Central Oregon. The weather modeling, all of it now shows that we stay dry. Remember, we had been saying, hey, there was a decent chance we get some showers into the valley at some point last night or today. That hasn't happened, and it's looking like it probably does not happen. But if you're traveling, remember, once you get up over the Cascades, you're entering the potential scattered storm zone today and tomorrow. All right, Chinook Casino Resort in Lincoln City. It's gray, but we're looking for some partial clearing this afternoon. 58 degrees, not much wind. Brightness over the Oregon Zoo up in the West Hills. Temperature is 60 degrees with calm winds. Not overly hot today, so pretty nice if we're really going to be out at the zoo. It'll be partly sunny and getting up into the low 80s, it looks like, here in Portland. Right now, all dry up to Seattle, 61. We've actually had some rain around the city of the Dalles showing up on radar. Currently 71 is your temperature. Our beach forecast looking for partial clearing, getting up into the 60s there. I want to point out the gorge has cooled down quite a bit. The Dalles was up around 100 just a couple of days ago, but today only 84. Valley temperatures, not bad. This shows Salem at 84 degrees today, partly to mostly sunny, 82 in Portland, and comfortable weather all the way into your weekend. Of course, tomorrow's August 1st, 83, and by Sunday, maybe only 78. That's your update.
All right, thank you, Rod. Hey, I'm going to ask kids to hold their ears for this next setup. Hold your ears, kids. From the alarm clock to the school bell. Back to school season is right around the corner, and experts say now is the time to start transitioning your kids back into a school sleep schedule. How do you do that? I say, good luck.
Yeah.
As a parent whose kids are about to enter their senior year of high school, we will have tips though, some tips that could help when sunrise continues.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
All right, Rod and I were just talking about this. No kid wants to talk about getting back onto a school sleep schedule before summer vacation is over, but that's exactly what this next segment is all about.
Yeah, in today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither explains how to get your kids' sleep routine back on track before the first day of school.
In the classroom, the recipe for success starts before your student even gets to school. One of the main ingredients is sleep.
It's just as important as exercise and nutrition when it comes to children's ability to learn and grow and thrive.
Dr. Caroline Weingart with Nationwide Children's Hospital says if your child's sleep routine was derailed during summer, you're not alone. But you can start to reset that routine before school starts. Walk back their bedtime, but do it gradually.
Moving the bedtime up 15 minutes every night for 1 to 2 weeks until they're going to bed at the time that they'll be going to bed during the school year is one way to get them back on a normal sleep schedule.
Weingart says to make sure all phones and other devices are put away, ideally at least 1 hour before bed in order to get their brain into sleep mode. She says to also focus on what time they wake up, have them start getting out of bed at the time they'll need to for school. While she says it's okay to sleep in a little on the weekends, keep their wake up time within an hour of when they get out of bed during the week.
So if they normally get up at 6:30 during the school week, get them up by about 7:30 on the weekend if possible, just to make it a little bit easier come Sunday night when it's time for them to go to bed.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And doctors say if possible, avoid naps during the day. If your kiddo needs one, make sure it's no more than 20 minutes a day and that they don't happen late in the evening.
Hey, quick reminder here, the KGW School Supply Drive is coming soon. In fact, it starts tomorrow. You can still sign up to help us out. Go to kgw.com/school to sign up your business or organization to be an official school supply drive collection site this year. You can help us collect school supplies and send thousands of kids and teachers in the area back to school with all the supplies they need. All right, we're getting ready for our 8 o'clock hour sunrise right here on KGW Plus. Our top story this morning is the breaking news from Vancouver, where just late last night, a sheriff's deputy, a Clark County sheriff's deputy, shot and killed a man who is accused of threatening to kill one of his parents. Again, we've been covering the story all morning long. We're going to go back out live to Vancouver in our 8 o'clock hour. Thomas Schultz is live on the scene there. He'll have the latest for us in 3 minutes.